We are continuing with question 1 of free response 2, and we're on part C of question 1. So we're going to assume that the Federal Reserve Bank takes an action to curb the effects of the Japanese recession on the U.S. economy. What open market operation would the Fed take? Well, they want to put money into the money supply, because they want to stimulate the economy. They want to use an expansionary policy. So what would that look like? Well, one thing I wanted to point out was very helpful with all of this is going to be the handout that I sent you guys a while ago that's labeled all the graphs and some other stuff you need to know for macros. So this graph, the first one we did on part 1 or question 1, part A and B, was this graph right here. So, and they're all here. Now the one we want to do is the money supply, which I believe is, let's see, let's find out where that is. It's here somewhere. I just want to point it out to you before I actually show you what it should look like. It's over here, okay? So this is the graph that we're going to draw that looks, so they're all here on this, all the ones you need are here on this handout. So this is going to be very helpful. But the one we're going to draw is this right here, which is the same as, pretty much the same as this one right, I just had it right here. Okay, I can blow that up a little bit bigger, but you have this, okay? So this is really a helpful handout. But let's just go back to what we're doing, which is this graph right here. So you want to draw a graph that shows, let's jump back to our question here, how they're asking it. We want to draw a correctly labeled graph of the money market to show how the Federal Reserve policy action will affect nominal interest rate. Okay, so, but the first thing you want to say is you want to answer part 1 by saying that they would purchase because they're putting money into the supply. So they want to purchase the government bonds. And when they buy them from banks, they're actually putting more money into the money supply. So that's the you want to explain right here in part 1 that the operation would be a purchase of government bonds from banks in the economy. So and then you're going to want to draw the graph that has the interest rate, and this is the nominal interest rate on the vertical axis, and the quantity of money on the horizontal axis, and then the downward sloping money demand. And when the Fed purchases government bonds, the money supply, which is a vertical curve, is going to shift to the right. So you want to show that. You want to show the shift to the right, and you can call this M1, M2, M0, M1. You just want to make sure you show the shift, and it's helpful to put in the arrow so it's very clear the direction that things are moving. Okay. Now, let's see. So that's your graph, and we want to talk about business investment and domestic consumption. Okay, so because it's actually asking you, let's see, right here, part 3, explain how the change in the nominal interest rate in part C2, right up here that you've shown on your graph, will affect aggregate demand, price level, and real output in the U.S. Now, you don't have to draw your aggregate supply demand graph again. You just need to understand what's going to happen and explain that let's jump back over here, that when we have a falling interest rate, that's going to make businesses more likely to invest and consumers more likely to consume. Why? Well, businesses typically borrow the money that they need for expansion, for investment. So when they're borrowing money, they're paying for it in terms of the interest rate of what they're borrowing. So if this rate goes down, they're going to borrow more and they're going to invest more. And we also know that most or a lot, or I don't know, probably pretty much all of American consumers use their credit cards in order to buy things. So when those interest rates drop, they're going to buy more. So what does that do? Well, the whole goal here is to shift the aggregate demand curve back to the right. Now, you don't have to show this on your answer, but I'm going to just show you by going back over here. So if we shift this back up to here, then obviously you can see that we reverse the effect or everything that happened in question 1. We're going to shift we're going to hopefully shift our aggregate demand curve back to the right to move us closer or back up to potential or full employment, and that's going to make our price level go back up and our output also go back up. So that's what you want, and that's what you want to explain in that part, in part 3, C3. Now, next we want to define, in part D, we want to define real interest rate. Well, real interest rate, you can just show, let me jump back over here. I think I have that in the next one. Yeah, right here, sorry. You want to show, I skipped this a little bit. So let's, actually, I wanted to show this, right? You don't have to draw this graph, but it's in your handout over here. It's in here, and I just copied it and put it over here so you can see that when interest rates drop, that's going to cause a movement along the line for the investment and demand. So this is the investment and demand graph, and you can see that when real interest rates drop, you're going to have an increase in overall investment. So you can see that graphically as well. Now, real interest rates drop, and that we need to jump back over here to a question D. What is real interest rate relative to nominal interest rate? Really, because nominal interest rate is just whatever the interest rate is on a loan. But what is the real interest rate? Well, in order to get the real interest rate, we have to factor in inflation, because the real interest rate is the nominal interest rate minus the inflation rate. So if we have 5%, let me extend this down. So if we have a 5% nominal rate on a loan, and price levels during the time of the loan rise 2%, and what did I put? Yeah, 2%. Okay. Then our real interest rate is only 3%, because the buying power of the money that's paid back is going to be 2% lower because of the rise in price levels or the inflation rate than it was when the money was lended. Now, what it's asking you, and what I want to show you right here, am showing you, I should say, is it's asking you. So that's just a backup. So you define the real interest rate by just simply stating that real interest rate equals nominal interest rate minus the inflation rate. And then it asks you one more thing, and that is indicate the effect of the open market operation you identified up here in part 1, which is purchasing bonds on the real interest rate in the U.S. Well, think through what's happening. We already said that because of this increase in investment, that's going to cause our aggregate demand curve to shift back up to the right, which is going to cause our price levels to go up, which we could also call that inflation. So it's going to cause a rise in inflation and a rise in our, well, let's jump back over here to, over here. So it's going to cause the inflation rate to go up and the nominal interest rate to go down. And what does that do? And it's asking us, once again, let's make sure it's asking us on what's going to happen to the real interest rate as a result of all this. And what happens is it's going to go down, because if you raise price levels here, let me extend this again so I'm not jammed up. If you just to show this in a very easy way, if we have price levels going up, which we see is going to happen here when we shift the aggregate demand back to the right? So we have price levels going up, which can also be termed the inflation rate is going up, and let's say it goes up 1% to a 3%, and nominal interest rates, as we see right here, are going down. Now this is a real, because that actually happens, but we know from a problem that that nominal interest rates are going to be dropping. Okay, so we're not confused on that. Let's go back and look at it. Okay, so we're explaining the change in nominal interest rates. They're going to drop when we drop aggregate demand, because really, don't get too wrapped around the difference between nominal and the real, because that's just factoring in whatever inflation is. That's the difference between a nominal and a real. So anyway, if nominal goes down, nominal interest rate, and the inflation rate goes up, you can see the numbers here. The real interest rate is going to drop even more than the nominal, because it's going to be affected by both the both the nominal interest rate going down and the price levels going up, and so it's going to be lower. And let me remind you, the price level here is going up because this increase in investment is going to shift the aggregate demand right, okay, which is going to obviously, right, shift price level, not a shift, but move price levels higher and overall output, okay? So I believe that takes care of all of problem 1. Okay, so in the next video, we will look at question 2. Okay.